Hello and welcome to Torment, Tides of Numenera. So, we are in the Broken Phantom, and we can go in the middle of this tank. It's quite unclear what the hell is going on. The Chaging God obviously has his plans to, well, kill us all. Whoever he was in the past, he changed a lot. He's no longer just a guy who wants to save his daughter. It's a stasis chamber, exactly like the one from the ghostly woman's memories. There are no controls on it anywhere, nothing that could help you raise the floors to reach the depths of the labyrinth. The woman lies inside, clearly visible through the shimmering energy field and looking as though she were asleep. Her features are exactly those of the ghostly woman. Something disturbs the air next to you. The ghostly woman's face begins to appear, as though your thoughts summoned her. You did summon me, she says, intuiting your thoughts. I can discern your memories more clearly than the others, even more clearly than my own. She looks sadly down in the chamber. But I remember now. This is who I was, the daughter of the Changing God. He was the father who tried to save me after the siege of the Tabat. He discovered how to transfer consciousness, my consciousness, into a new body, hoping it would save me. But it didn't. My sickness followed me, in my mind, so he put me in there. He tried to find a cure for me, and when that failed, he tried to bring me back from death itself. He thought I was unconscious in there, but I remember. The memories are fragmented, but they are there. I was aware of everything, and with so many new memories flooding my mind, I am able to fill the gaps I didn't know. Does this mean you're a cast-off? Her eyebrows scrunch together, then she shakes her head. I don't think so. I had my own consciousness, like my father does. This is who I was. No, probably just a memory, stored forever in the labyrinth. How often has he tried to bring you back? Considering he had centuries to do it, not very often. A lot at first, then only when he remembered or had some new idea. He used the probability engines underneath Saga's cliffs to birth a woman with my personality. He tried to use Heaven's Rejoinder, his means for turning back defeats in the endless battle. Once he tried to kidnap a version of me from an alternative reality, but she died in a tragic accident. He never tried that again. What am I to you, father? Did you just give up? Seriously? I mean, obviously he went over the top in trying to save you. And maybe not even sure if he wants to save you. Like, the thing is, does he want to save you? Or he just wants you for himself? I mean, it does matter because if he just had a copy of you, it would be okay. For example, if he just had an exact copy of you, and that would be completely functional, exactly like you were, he would be probably totally happy with that. Tell me again, no. How much do you remember from being in that tank? I can tell you in time measurements. I only know I was in the tank until the Sarah attacked us. My father fled, saving himself. She laughed once, but there is no humor in it. Maybe he figured he could bring me back even without my body. It's the kind of thing he would assume. Her face darkens. Maybe he didn't care. I definitely looks like a more selfish guy. I mean, I fully accept that. I understand. Okay. Okay, he cares about you, but he's possibly at first a selfish man. Probably you're the only one in the whole world he would put in front of himself, above himself, but not even sure that if that is the case. He obviously cares about you. Does that mean this phantom is constructed from your memories? She looks around her, taking it all in for the first time. I don't recognize. No, wait. Yes, it's all twisted and disordered, like in a nightmare. But yes, I think these are my memories. I need to get to that portal. Can you build me a path?
I'm ready to pick my path.
She looks you directly in the eye, strong and certain. Yes, I can. Oh. Go, she says. Stop him. He's harmed more lives than anyone can count. If you have the power to heal the floors, would you have the power to heal me as well? While you are in this place? Yes, I think I might. You feel nothing more than a tickle. Tingle as she places her hand on your shoulder. Then an immense weight of tranquility fills your body and mind.
Thanks.
It's just a base heal? Oh, right, of course.
Like a whisper.
It's like a whisper. Let's go. Changing God. I just wanted to get rid of the sorrow. You can just do your thing. And now you want to kill us all? Well, we are making a note. The right to exist? That is the quest? Yes. Open the resonance. So, we have 2 ways to go. Do we want to go to the right or the left? Let's go to the left. Countless scratches and wounds mar the surface of this door. Someone made a great effort to get inside, but to no avail. As you approach, however, the bars of the door shudder and bend, wants to let you in. Place your hand on the surface and will it to open. The door doesn't open at your touch. Instead, you are drawn into the door itself. That's one way to do it. Wow, really? You are in a glass dome, several kilometers above the ground. Blue sky fills your vision. Beneath you is a floor of golden metal. A deafening klaxon blares in warning against something. Familiar-looking stasis chamber lies in the center of the dome. Chest fashioned from synth and cold iron sits to one side. Behind the pod, a diamond hovers in the air, scattering a prismatic light. Pedestal glows near your hand, a deep azure blue. There's nothing that seems to warrant the blaring klaxons, yet you know the alarm sounds for a reason. Look at the chamber. It's the ghostly woman's stasis chamber, the real one from which the labyrinth constructions were made. The changing god's daughter lies inside. Her skin is pale and there are dark circles around her eyes. Her chest rises and falls as though she were sleeping soundly. This laboratory, this body, must belong to the changing god. Open the chamber. Suddenly a man appears between you and the chamber. He's not all there. You can see the clouds and vista on the other side of him. His hands are raised in front of him, placatingly. Hey! What are you doing? If you open that, Mika will die! His mannerisms remind you of the specter from the labyrinth, though his face, clothing, and voice are not the same. Who are you? What are you? He gives you an odd look. Now's really not the time to get into this again. I'm an intelligence put in charge of this laboratory, and either created from or overlaid with your knowledge and personality. As your advisor, I refuse to argue about the nature of my existence until we are safely out of this mess. What's here? Why are the alarms going off? His face darkens. The sorrow is in here. It found us somehow and now it's trying to break into the lab. We need to get you out of here. Why is the sorrow here? What does it want? I couldn't tell you what it wants. Maybe there's something in your archives. You told me we woke it up somehow when we did that first consciousness transfer. What should we do? I strongly advise you to save yourself, thus saving both of our minds. Unfortunately, that would mean leaving her. He looks at the chamber and frowns. I don't like it any more than you do. The only other options I can think of are somehow stop the sorrow by force, unlikely, or figure out what it wants. He shakes his translucent head. I don't think we have enough time for either, but maybe you know something I don't. He points to the hovering diamond. Maybe you can find something in your archives to help us. Just be careful what you research in there. We don't have any time to waste. Can you make the alarm stop? Sure, just don't forget the reason for the alarms is still on its way. The blaring alarm ceases immediately, replaced with a low rumbling and occasional crash of metal. Tell me about the girl in the chamber. You mean Mika? He looks at the chamber. It's difficult to read his expression, but he seems sad. She's no better than she was before. Worse, actually. I hate to say this, but I don't think we can save her. Tell me about the storage locker. What about it? Last I remember, you moved a bunch of new stuff in there while I was deactivated. I don't know anything about what you've put in there. He crosses his arms. Really, I don't see how I can advise you at all when you keep things from me. Well, sorry about, like, my copy illusion. No, like, my copy. Like, he's the copy of my mind, who I use as a servant. That's just weird, right? But also using an advisor. Just changing God things. Tell me about the diamond. Your archives? The archival interface doesn't work with mine directly. I only know what you upload to my database, which you haven't done in years, by the way. Until then, those are just notes to yourself. He reaches out a hand suddenly. If you're thinking of going through those looking for a solution, be careful. We don't have a lot of time. And you made a lot of notes. How close is the sorrow? Almost broken into the base in the tower. Probably will any minute now. Wow. Where's the sorrow now? What? Do it. Why doesn't it work? Open the sin chest? The chest is locked with a keypad bearing 17 strange symbols. You're about to lose hope when you realize you know which symbols to press to unlock the chest. You enter the correct code before the memory can slip away. The chest opens with a soft click. The only items of note inside are a wooden shaft with a multicolored crystal tied to one and a large hemisphere made of azure steel. Let's examine the rod with a crystal on the end. There is nothing mystical about the wooden haft, but the crystal on the end is definitely from a prior world. You think it might be a domination rod. The crystal saps the will of any creature it touches. Take it! The rod has got a heft and has a good heft and balance, like a well-made spear. It may or may not help you, but it will do more good in your hand than in a box. How about examine the azure steel dome? It's heavy, too heavy to lift by yourself. Your best guess is that it's a wall projector of some kind, probably brought up here as a defensive measure for the laboratory. Unfortunately, you can't see any indication of what kind of barrier it would create, nor any way to activate it. Investigate the hovering diamond. As you approach the diamond, the top of it blooms open. An illusory globe appears within. Words and images speed across its surface. A woman's voice speaks directly into your mind. Welcome back, please state your query. A wave of familiarity slams into you. The changing god used this as an archival device, kept records of his thoughts and experiments. Specific records can be retrieved by speaking a search term. Alarm? The illusionary globe becomes blank. The voice speaks into your mind. There are no matching query entries. Please restate your query. Escape? Previews of several entries flit through your mind. There are scores. There are scores of results, and you can't figure out how they are organized, nor how to quickly ascertain whether an entry will be useful to you or not. It takes some time to sift through them for something useful. You'll have to be careful what you spend time researching. Finally, you find one that's what you're looking for. Male voice. The voice of the body you are wearing speaks in your mind. The voice says, I won't take any risks with this new body. I've initiated a failsafe procedure to transport me away should something happen to me or the laboratory. If any unforeseen danger presents itself, I should be able to escape to a backup location. There's a thunderous boom. The floor shakes and sways beneath you, causing you to lose your balance. Outside the dome, the horizon tilts back and forth, giving you a sense of vertigo. The spectral man appears in front of you. Suddenly, a look of human terror on its face. It's broken into the tower! It's only a matter of time before it reaches us here. We have to do something fast. Do you control the teleport failsafe? Yes, now there's a good idea. Problem is it can only teleport one person. The girl, your archives, and your equipment will all be lost. Of course, you can just recreate me from your own consciousness, so it won't be a total loss. Anyway, what do you ask? Can it set to teleport the girl instead of me if something happens? Is illusory profaros? I could, but what's the point? Outside the stasis chamber, she'll die within months. A couple of years at best. It's better for you to live, so we can find a way to save her. I don't think it is a real copy of me. Or maybe a more selfless version of me. I don't know if the girl... He kind of makes a good point. If I just die, then she's never gonna be saved. And if he dies, then I will never be... Well... The thing is, I kind of change the past every time I do this. So now we are changing reality. If the changing god never escapes, then I will never come to exist. So, can you activate the teleporter immediately? Maybe that would be the best solution. That the sorrow just never cares for us. Changing god dies. Or maybe he has a plan B. Can you turn the failsafe off? Can you activate the teleporter immediately? Can you turn the failsafe off? Why would you do that, now that I don't trust you to figure some way out of here? But somebody should escape with our knowledge. What's the point if we all die? I don't know. As much as it is a justifiable move. Like, she's not even just sick. She's just effectively dead. I suppose you just need to run away. I mean, like, I can blame the changing god for a lot of things, but I can't blame the changing god for this. Can you activate the teleporter immediately? To get you out? Absolutely. That's probably the safest course, to be honest. Just say the word, he scratches his head. Remember though, it is a failsafe. If you want to wait until the last minute to get something or try something for her sake, it's safe to do so, probably. So we have time to, like, check out stuff. Go to the archival diamond? No, we need to check out the stasis pod. Probably we don't have a lot of time to just tweak everything. Outside the glass dome, the horizon moves slightly as though the entire laboratory were swaying several kilometers up in the air. In the middle of the room is a large chamber with a figure inside it. Look at the chamber again. Go back to the... Wow, that's it? Look at the chamber again. So she's sleeping inside, we can't do anything with that. Go back to the sin chest. Archival diamond. Consciousness transfer. We wanna learn about that. Your voice says, consciousness transfer was a success. I transferred Mika to a new body. First, a clone of her original. There appeared to be no ill side effects after several days, so I performed the procedure on myself. I'll be watching both of us carefully over the next few weeks, but thus far, I'm very hopeful. I'm sure there will be unforeseeable long-term effects, but for the moment, it seems I have found a way to stave off death itself. I can't imagine any long-term effects that could outweigh that benefit. About the tides. The tides have proven to be an extremely fruitful path of exploration. The Tabat don't realize what they have unearthed. They saw these trinkets as just mere Numenera, but these forces may even have the power to turn back death itself. I certainly hope, for her sake. Suddenly, there is a tremendous popping sound. The air sizzles, causing every hair to stand on one end and your entire body to tingle dangerously. The spectral man appears in front of you again, puts its hands on your shoulders, though to feel nothing. It shattered! The electrostatic shield. If it breaks through the plasma window, we are done for. It looks as the hatch in the ground as though it could see through it. What's your plan? You've got a plan, right? My plan is just to save my butt. I'm gonna go back to the archives. How about the Changing God? No, it's blank. Advisor? Sorrow? The voice says, I don't know what the sorrow is exactly, just that it's old, really old, and it doesn't pay much attention to established laws of space-time. I wonder just how established those laws really are. Anyway, I first came across mention of it in my research of the tides. It appears to have been some kind of guardian against tidal abuse. Evidence suggests it may have been solely responsible for the destruction of one of the prior worlds. My experiments with consciousness transfer appear to have woken it. I don't believe it's after me specifically, but I have come to believe it was responsible for the destruction of my previous laboratory. There's a hiss and screech beneath the floor. Suddenly, the metal hatch flies off its hinges, cracking the strong glass ceiling and then smashing the glowing pedestal. The spectral man's image disappears. A foul black cloud rises from the hatch, and the air is filled with an unearthly wail and the stench of rotting flesh. Tendrils lash out, slicing metal and synth wherever they touch it. A terrible face emerges from the cloud. It examines you. Then it turns its attention to the chamber. Use the domination route against the sorrow. Leave her alone. I'm the one who initiated the consciousness transfer. Take me. Call to the advisor. Get me out of here. The sorrow turns its horrible attention to you. One of the tendrils darts towards you, slicing through both the strong glass wall and the steel floor. It reaches your face and you feel nothing. The tendril goes right through your body. You realize that the dome is fading away. No, your body is fading away as some device tugs it safely away to another location. The sorrow's unearthly wail becomes a shriek. Though the spectral advisor is gone, you hear his voice in your head. Thank goodness the failsafe kicked in. You'll be safe, though the girl and I are doomed. I will be easy to recover, but I'm sure you'll... He cuts off as the sorrows tendrils flay the laboratory all around it in a blind fury. The chest and the diamond are cut to ribbons. The chamber disintegrates in a ball of purple flame, and the last thing you see as your mind fades from this body is the face of the young girl melting and boiling into ash. I'm just beyond confused. I'm like, I suppose. A ghost of woman appears next to you. She stares at the door you just emerged from. Her eyes are as round as the moon. I remember now, all of it. I told you I was aware of everything while I was in that chamber. I remember my father abandoning me. I remember you abandoned me too. After the sorrow destroyed the stasis chamber, I woke up here, in the labyrinth. I wasn't aware though, not for a long time. Not until you came and started changing things. What do you mean I started changing things? She looks at you. Her eyes are brighter now, full of confidence. You are the last cast off, the one my father created to witness this place. To command it, you have been changing the labyrinth since you were first born. You are the one who will decide our fate. So you're not just a memory? No, she says, firm and certain. I'm not a memory, nor a reflection, nor a lacuna. I'm Mika, the full consciousness of the changing god's daughter. Could I have saved you? Of course. You can change reality. It's what you've been doing all this time. She drops her chin to her chest. Then again, maybe not. My father's advisor was just as self-centered as he was. It was his self after all. He might have teleported you safety even if you had told him not to. I don't know. Maybe there are some realities you can change. I mean, like, I wouldn't really call it too selfish. I understand all that I need to, so what do we do now? She points to the door on the opposite side of the phantom. There is one more, Mir. Enter it, open the resonance and end this. For all of us. Go, there is not much time.
You've got it.
I can't fully blame the changing god for abandoning his daughter in that situation. And
Ready?
the spectral man made a good point that, you know, he can never have her back. I mean, like, by all, technically, his daughter is dead. Maybe not dead, but brain dead. Her body is dead. Even a consciousness transfer didn't save her, so I think it's safe to say that she's dead. Maybe she can be saved in some way, but just, I don't know, teleporting her away, that wouldn't be enough. Still gotta be said, if you build that special laboratory, I would have made it my business to have a teleporter be able to teleport out 2 people at least. You know that? Perhaps even your research. You know, that would have been a good bang for your buck. If you build a special laboratory, why not just have 2 teleporters? Or a teleporter that's able to teleport out more. That is my suggestion to you, Changing God, but I suppose it had to be a dilemma. It can be like, oh, the sorrow is coming for me. That's okay, I got teleporters everywhere. I'm just gonna teleport myself. The light around the door's frame dims and flares like a roaring fire in a high wind. As you approach, the bars of the door shudder and bend. It wants to let you in. Place your hand on the surface and will it to open. The door doesn't open at your touch, instead you are drawn into the door itself. The world revolves far below you. A sunset in scarlet flaring on the horizon. To the east, deep indigo shadows fall, painting the planet with darkness. The faintest shimmer of a force screen distorts your vision, and the exhalation of the station pushes warm, moist air across your skin. With a shock, you realize that the view before you is almost identical to the world you saw as you fell to the earth, just slightly higher. You hold the intricately filigreed metal staff. Its carvings slither under your fingers as if it were alive. Didn't I see this picture about Torment of Numenera on the internet? Like, it looks familiar. And it was colored. Again, I gotta be sad, I don't like this gray background on a gray text on a gray background. Makes it kinda harder to read. You're in a great hall that is more like an organic space than a constructed room. Machinery literally sprouts from the floors and walls, with no sign of where the synthetic metal gives way to the substrata from which it has grown. Though humid, the hall feels clean and fresh, healthy and vibrant, full of promise. A holographic map of the moon hovers at the back wall, near a small glowing pod. A voice speaks, as if from the air itself. You are certain this procedure will give you final control over the cast-offs? If you're mistaken, the chamber may fail, or worse, detonate with you inside. The voice is familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on its identity. Where are you? By your side as usual, watching, monitoring. The resonance chamber is ready, in Sagus. We just need to make sure this body will work as a catalyst. If something happens down there, I'll signal you to move to the next vessel, and if you don't get out in time, well, you've got me. Let's hear it for redundancy for now. Just settle into the pod and we'll make sure this body will work for us. You've pinpointed the source of the voice. It's coming from the staff in your hands. You peer at it more closely, and you see a glowing, ghostly image, the holographic advisor from the other mirror. No, this advisor looks different. Augmented, it has the ghostly blue, limbed, smoky appearance of the specter. It is a specter. Try to remember how the staff works. Oh, I'm a smart cookie, I'm gonna figure that out. You study the staff, and it feels like coming home. It is a familiar friend, confronting ally. It is the cornerstone of this moon, a key to every lock. You know that it copies your mind, weakly serving as a failsafe and a familiar consciousness that is your natural ally. When it speaks with the specter's voice, and when it must manifest, it can create a ghostly image of the changing god's original body. Holding it, you feel safe, in control. I know you! You're me! I would hope so, considering that you duplicated me from your own mind less than a week ago. Now let's get you into the chamber and... are you feeling alright? Yes, I'm fine. Let's just get back to this. I'm a casto, but I've entered some sort of time loop and I'm in my body, but before I was born? Oh, come on! Last cast up! Don't try to confuse him. Yes, I'm fine. Let's... I'm just a little concerned, actually. Ha! Given our respective natures, you don't need to tell me that. My one benefit is that I'm not corporeal right now, but if I were, I know what my body would be feeling. Of the two of us, your job is definitely the harder. Look, we are doing it this way for a reason, remember? I'll walk you through the process. You don't need to worry. I've got it. We've got it under control. Remind me how it works? We're going to run the final assessment on this body. Complete scans, review, tidal adjustment if necessary. We'll verify that all the parameters are within tolerance, settle into the pod, and I'll take care of the rest. I don't want any part of this. I've been trying to stop this from happening. Oh, for goodness! An invisible force suddenly whisks you into the pod against your will. The staff in your hand vibrates slightly and you feel yourself bathed in energies. Remain calm, this is all well within normal parameters. The minor explosion that follows, however, surely is not. Sudden klaxons blare. The nearby platelets vibrate furiously and the deactivated construct's arm begins to spark and flare. Get out! The sorrow is going to destroy you! Your nemesis manifests in the Great Hall. Its form is tenuous, wispy, and as it congeals, it gains a solidity in pits and stars. The moon's internal defenses are slowing it, but they will not be enough to keep it out. As you watch, the sorrow shrugs itself past another line of defenses, jerking itself toward a more terrible reality. Its focus snaps toward you. It coils and waits, desperate to wipe you from existence. Get to another body! We can always make a new catalyst. Go! How do I flee this body? That's an amazing perception. Study the map to find the way to the escape pods. It's a multi-level projection. Its orientation and layout is prepared in a way that is naturally pleasing to your eye, and you trace the road to a nearby escape cocoon without difficulty. You'll have to remember the layout of the halls, but the map is clear enough that you think you can remember the route. Try to pull off one of the vibrating platelets. Damn, you're not so good at this. You take hold of one of the discs, your fingers sink into its spongy material, and with a slight twist of your wrist, you detach it from the column of energy that holds it. It hums and cycles in a pitch that makes your eyes shudder. With each cycle, the disc shifts your vision, changing the colors you perceive. The tides churn with you as you hold it. It may have some effect on the sorrow. How do I flee this body? Let's examine the construct. The construct itself is beyond repair, but a quick study reveals that each of the construct's limbs were designed for independent power. So even though most of the construct is quiescent, its spiked powered hand is not. Working quickly, you detach it from the construct's frame. It will be a suitable gauntlet. The powers that course through it might serve to delay the sorrow's advance. You feel the moon shudder, then you feel it tear. The alarm in the Great Hall have begun to strobe. The lights flicker. The moon's moist air suddenly shrieks past you. The sorrow has breached its walls. The hallway branches with countless offshoots piercing the winding passages of the moon. You know that your escape lies down one of these routes. Your study of the map puts you in good stead here. You count down the passages, and every landmark that you expect arrives when you expect it. As you race through the halls, you see a small slot in the wall. It holds a firm green gel that you know contains some kind of memory. Try to figure out how the memory gel works. I think we need to keep running. Keep running, get to the escape pods. You pound into the bay, the doors shutting behind you. You breathe Your breath comes hot in your chest. You double over to catch your breath. Several cocoons are arrayed along the other wall. You will need to activate one, and it will spin its webbing around you. Smart membrane is tough, heat resistant, and it will transfer the entirety of the kinetic force away from you at the moment of impact. You see an injection of some sort, but it's across the bay. You might not have time to reach it. Ignore it! Get to the escape pod! You slip into the cocoon, activate the ejection sequence and trigger it. The membrane embraces you, forcing you to drop the staff, and it begins to slide free of the killing ground of the moon. And then your tattoo blazes, as if it's staring open, an onslaught of the tides, all in blue and silver, a stream of information too fast and too large to process. A mighty blast buffets the cocoon, and you feel one of the sorrow's inky tendrils caress your cheek and burn into your mind, searing away knowledge and memory even as you tumble toward the earth. Amidst unspeakable pain, you feel something forming within you, but you lose consciousness before you can identify what it is. Right. I'd hope you would open that for me. And here we are. The Spectre says, and his voice is not tied to your body. It pours from the walls around you, from the shifting floor beneath your feet. It is time for some hard truths, child. Before he can finish, the air twists in the room. An explosion of light, and a scared figure steps out of it. How's this for truth? Her voice is worn and hard behind her mask. The resonance is mine. It belongs to me and all cast-offs. I've worked too hard for it to be otherwise. Stand aside, old man, and let us determine our own destiny. The Spectre's smile is disconcerting. Your destiny. You're part of me. Your destiny was never yours to determine, and the resonance is not yours to claim. He gestures a hand in your direction. Only the last cast-off can open the door. That body and I are the only ones capable of using the power beyond. You are out of your depth, Marilau, and this is no longer concerns you. He ignores her and turns to you. I needed you to open the door, and you've done that. That's the cage I can handle on my own. His voice presses down on you like a hand, as if trying to drop you to your knees. When I enter the resonance, it will be to return my errant children to my mind, where they belong. Leave me to it, and we'll have no further quarrel. What say you? You think someone calls himself the Changing God would learn from his mistakes? Irritation flashes across his translucent face. I'm not here to debate who I am or what I've done. I'm here to claim what's mine. The ground rumbles menacingly beneath your feet. And what is that exactly? He looks at the ghostly form of the Changing God's daughter as if noticing her for the first time. His surprise is a brief, chill wind whipping across the darkness between you. You, he mutters. You are her ghost, the one that haunts me. My daughter is dead. Do you hear me? I can't bring her back, no matter how hard I try. Is that so? But she apparently has nothing more to say to him. Is that creature my father? He looks like what I remember, but he doesn't feel. He shakes his head. Enough! I don't wish to fight you, Gustav, but neither will you keep me from this. What will it be? You're right, you earned this. No, she's your daughter. She told me so. Your resonance is not yours to claim. The real changing god died when I was born. You're just the backup of his memories. Ridiculous. The Castellan grows. I've served our sire for centuries. This is him. You speak in simple terms, the Spectre says, arcing an eyebrow. But you're dense. Even for one of my cast-offs. I'm the changing god and you are standing in my way. Consciousness needs to be continuous. You are a copy of what the changing god was. I know who I am. The Spectre snaps, but he looks troubled by your argument. This is foolish. This is the changing god's daughter, yet she doesn't recognize you. He flinches and turns to face her. She meets her eyes, blinking once, and shakes her head. You're not her, he says, and with more force he repeats himself. You're not her! Of course, you don't know me. He turns his head from her entirely, staring into the dark. Shakes his head again. If there is any heir to the mantle of the changing god, it's me. I've been able to change the past through the mirrors ever since I awoke. I don't know what you are, but I know who I am, he snarls. It is clear, however, that this fact troubles him. What am I going for? Let's look at the other answers. Changing God wouldn't have lost when we fought. Yes, the Changing God wouldn't have lost when we fought. I've lost plenty of battles, he says, lifting an eyebrow. And I'm still alive because I know when to retreat and regroup. Constant victory is a fiction I have no use for. He sighs. Be honest, don't you have any doubts? Of course I do. Your careless creation has left me trapped here. I've had to fight for every inch of control. He turns grim eyes to darkness above. Enough of this, he mutters, but there is no anger in his voice anymore, no fire, only a great weariness. His gaze moves from you to the others in the room. You're right. At first, I convinced myself I wasn't whole anymore, that something had broken in me, or been left behind. He stares at his hand, or through it. But it makes sense. I'm not him. I'm close. As close as anyone, but the changing god is dead.
I'm ready to pick my path.
He lets his hand fall. Bit by bit, he begins fading away. Is it true then? Has our sire been gone all this time? He studies you for a moment. It would seem you and I no longer have a quarrel. You did it! He's gone! She barks a short laugh. Ha! You've accomplished something I could never achieve. I suppose I owe you my gratitude. That's it? Let's save. I think there's still more left to be. I think this is a good time to take a break, so hope you guys had fun. Tell me if you did, and see you around. And possibly we're gonna have the conclusion next time around. So, see you guys.